Now, there's a new energy drink on the market, and the hype around it has raised some eyebrows. Prime energy drink and Prime Hydrate are said to contain excessive amounts of caffeine, which have led them to being banned in some countries. But these drinks have made it to the fridge of supermarkets and convenience stores here at home. For more on this, we're joined this morning by a nutritionist and a clinical dietitian. Mbali Mapholi joined us in our studios this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great
Thank
to see
you
you.
for having me.
I mean, I don't get it. And so many people are talking about it on social media as well.
Yeah.
They are retailing these drinks, 745 Rand. Here I've got 7.99, 6.45. Why?
It's ridiculous. So basically, Prime is like a rehydration drink.
Yeah.
So it's got electrolytes, sweeteners, some amino acids and vitamins. Just for cases of extreme sport where there's a lot of fluid losses and there are electrolyte imbalances. We see it also being one of the drinks that could potentially be used in diarrhea cases where there's severe diarrhea and there's a need to replace electrolytes.
Yeah.
So that's what Prime drink is about. It's not different in terms of nutritional analysis. It's basically not different to the normal rehydration drinks that we've got in our market. You know, there's nothing to it that makes it, it's just on the same category level. But what makes Prime popular, to a point that we are talking about it today, and it's so expensive as well, it's just, I would say it's just PR. And you know that, you know, there's YouTubers that, YouTube videos that have got 30 million views on this Prime drink. So because it's sold to children, like the conversation is with children between the ages of 6 to 23, roundabout.
6 to 23?
Yeah, my 5-year-old, I asked him and I said, what is Prime? I had the most interesting electrolyte education of my entire life. Like, I'm a dietitian, but I was blown away. So it's positive in that sense, that it has exposed children to those concepts of nutrition and how their bodies work. But I think there's biasness because the people who educated them on the electrolytes and rehydration were also selling a drink. So now in a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old's mind, they're thinking the only way to replace electrolytes is through Prime. But that's not true. We can replace electrolytes just by normal eating. We know that popular foods like bananas are high in potassium. We know sodium. Sodium is just salt. So that's where it gets a bit confusing. And I think it's important for parents to embrace the conversation about Prime because it has given children this understanding about, again, nutrients and amino acids and rehydration. But then instead of you saying, I can't buy Prime, it's expensive, because they're going to say, you have 350 Rand, 400 Rand, you do have. Then now have a conversation to say that scientifically, especially for children under the age of 18, we don't have electrolytes clear guidelines as to how much electrolytes is safe. And one of the Prime's, you know, competitive advantage is that it's highest in electrolytes. So unfortunately, we cannot say because it's highest in electrolytes is the best. It's not like the higher the better kind of conversation. So you have to now have that conversation and say, it might not be safe for you as a child below the age of 18 to consume it because of its high quantities of electrolytes. And in cases where children are not even in extreme sport or they are not ill, there's not even a need to rehydrate or in that sense of convenient rehydration drinks until there is, you know, extreme like losses of fluids, as I said, whether it's sports or diarrhea.
If you have a stomach bug or something. Because what we normally give our children is rehydrate, right? I mean, how do you compare the two? Prime drink and rehydrate.
So it's important, as I said, it's important to compare with what we have. And when we are to compare in that category, they are not far off, to be honest. Rehydrate and Prime drink are not far off.
Except in price.
Except in price, very much in price. But in terms of the nutritional analysis, and I think that is where conversations with experts like dietitians like myself are important, because I'm not biased to any brand on that category. So I'm able to give to say, nutritionally, these two products, whether it's Rehydrate or Prime, they like neck on neck compare. Because all we're looking for from rehydration drinks or sports drinks is electrolytes, a little bit of amino acids for recovery. That's it. But Prime is Rehydrate with good PR, basically.
I love that.
They went on they went on to do something, and they made millions, like in literally hundreds of millions in a short space of time. And now it's here in South African market. So I think let's be woke about it as adults and not limit the conversation, as I said, to cost, but extend it to say, do you need it? Let's talk about it. Like, why do you think you need the replacement of electrolytes? You know, and even in cases where children are fussy eaters, because somebody will say, oh, but my child is a fussy eater, then maybe they need electrolytes. That's not our first line. We usually then go first vitamins and minerals before we are concerned about electrolytes. So a multivitamin, taking them to a dietitian to help them through the processing of being a fussy eater, introduce more foods, is more beneficial than prime at this point.
I like what you said about, and this is a nice angle to take on the story, that it is opening up a conversation about these things with children, and it gives us an opportunity to maybe do our own research as their caregivers, and to talk to them about why these sort of what do we call it?
Products,
nutritional products, why they're important, and why you need electrolytes, amino acids, etc.
Yeah. No, as I said, my 5-year-old, I was blown away. As soon as I said, what is prime? The conversation was amazing. So we need to embrace that. That social media, influencers in that sense, are opening these conversations. But because they're not experts, so then things get lost in translation and that. So it's also important to note that popularity does not translate to effectiveness or superiority when it comes to nutrition products. So you still have to understand what's the core here. The information is about rehydration, it's about electrolytes, it's about amino acids. That is science. That's a basic nutrition science. How much do we need and where can we get those sources? So then you go to the normal shopping, like normal, because prime you can only get it now at specific places because it's such a niche place type of a product. But actually you can walk anywhere. You can walk into a garage station in South Africa and get a product that is exactly like prime, literally here at Teller's or Kesha's side of where you pay, just round about there. You can get these things, and they've been in the market for a very long time.
As you say, just good PR. As with most labels, you're paying mostly for the label than you are for the product, right?
I think also if this product was being spoken of and really publicized like this by elite athletes in South Africa. And I know in the world there are certain sports, football teams that have partnered with the brand. But if that was a conversation we are having to say, is it good for cyclists, the elite athletes in that way, we'll be talking a complete different conversation. But here, the people who are making it popular are under 18. And they want it. And they'll be like, my 5-year-old said, I've got a bank card. I have savings there. And I said, that's not the point.
I think until you've worked for that 795 rand, you will struggle to blow it on one bottle of prime.
100%.
Let's talk about prime energy. Because that one's different, isn't it? Just insofar as the caffeine content is concerned. 200 milligrams of caffeine in one bottle.
Very high caffeine. You know, when it comes to coffee, as dietitians, we say any child under the age of 18, caffeine is a problem because there are no regulations as to how much is safe. Hence, even for pregnant people, we say they can't consume, excessive amounts of caffeine because there is no science to say how much is safe. Here, 200 milligrams, that's literally just about what an adult needs maximum for the day, almost half of that. So imagine for a child consuming an energy drink that has so much caffeine.
What are the effects of that?
Palpitations, anxiety. That's one of the big immediate things where a child is now panicking in a sense that they just feel like, oh, everything's overwhelming, oh, it's too much. And that is a problem, that it has those effects. And another thing that's important to note, I don't know what it will do to your child or to that child because there is no clear guidelines and there is no clear instructions as to how much is safe, how much is not.
Because also you get caffeine from other foods, right? Outside of coffee.
Outside of coffee, a cup of your black tea has about 30 milligrams of caffeine.
Chocolate?
Exactly. 30 milligrams there on chocolate. So you see, caffeine is everywhere. So if we can control that it's not provided in such high quantities at a short, because like literally that energy drink a child would drink and finish within a space of 20 minutes at most. So you deliver it too quick, but also the quantity is high.
Pregnant women as well need to
Pregnant women. So we're looking at about, for pregnant women, we say max about 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day.
That's a lot.
Which equates to about 350, 400 milligrams, but also the fact that they are pregnant people, they are also adults. There is that. So for children, it's even worse because nobody has came out in science and said, this is the cap. So we don't know.
So you've tasted prime. I haven't. What can you tell us about what it's like?
I will say it tastes like, imagine a sports drink that has sweetness because it's got a sweetener, sucralose. Imagine something like a drink that has sweetener and it's such in high quantities that you can literally taste the the aftertaste of the sweetener.
Like unpleasant aftertaste.
Unpleasant aftertaste. So as much as it has different flavors, your strawberry and that, whether it's the Prime energy drink or the Prime, the rehydration drink, but they have that aftertaste to them. A little bit thicker than your normal sports drinks.
So like a protein shake maybe?
Think of a protein shake type of consistency, but also like there's another product in the market that goes out of the packet.
Yes.
So more like that, but a little bit not as thick as that. So that's how it tastes like.
I wonder whether that sounds appealing.
No.
I suppose the difficulty with children and with teens in particular is that they won't buy anyone's explanation. They want to experience it for themselves.
They want to experience. That's why I was saying, for them, have a conversation about this science, because they have this knowledge that has been given to them. But then say to them, I hear you about electrolytes and this and that, but it's this product, because there's this biasness that the product and the electrolytes are now attached together.
Yeah.
So separate that biasness and say, if you need rehydration, if you need these electrolytes and amino acids, there are other options. It doesn't have to be Prime. And because also, when it comes to price, even parents themselves are feeling pressure to say, if I can't afford Prime, or I don't want to buy Prime, my child is going to think of a cheapskate or something. It's going to question the whole thing. It's going to question affordability in the house just because you don't want to buy Prime. So I think if you end up saying, you know what, let's buy Prime as a family, let's taste it, let that be the experience. But let us not say the only way to deliver electrolytes is through Prime, because we'll be messing things up.
You're asking for a lot. There's no way I am spending 700 Rand on an energy drink.
No, I wouldn't. I obviously, because it's the work I do, I had to taste it so that I can have a full understanding of taste. I can have a full understanding of the nutrition science.
And so you can come in and talk to us about it.
Then I can come and talk about it. Because talking about something that I haven't even touched, and I bought it, and my heart was sore. Paying that 700.
My heart is sore for you.
I was like, there's no way. But I'm in Newzroom Afrika. I need to know.
I was going to say you should have brought us a bit to come.
Yeah, I actually was saying in the other side that I should have brought. I had an opened container. I should have bought.
But listen,
we should have tried it together. Actually.
We should have. Okay, next time, Mbali Mapholi. Next time it's on me, since you've bought the first bottle.
You're going to buy Prime? I'm proud of you. Please don't.
Thank you so much, Mbali, for coming into studio. There you have it. If you've been asking questions, if your teenagers have been asking you questions about Prime, I don't know about you, but there is just no way. 750 Rand. No way at all. Mbali, thanks for coming in.